Cathode ray tube.
Cathode ray tube. Was developed when?
1897. When was the first televised broadcast?
1956.
Close. 36.
Yeah, only 2 decades off.
Hey, cut yourself some slack. It's hard stuff to remember. You're doing that wrong. Come on, let me take a seat. So Mom called. She's off the booze.
Good for her.
Yeah, well, I'm just warning you because she wanted to talk to you. Which means that she's going to be calling back and
she's gonna want to talk to me about moving back with them to Wasaga Beach. Well, it's not gonna happen, all right? Forget it.
Sean.
I'm not moving back!
Hey! Take it easy. Use some of those tricks they taught you.
Okay, you know what? You are not my social worker, okay? Just...
Look. Don't worry about Mom, okay? You just keep your nose clean, get good grades, and everything will be okay. All right?
Hello, Degrassians. I'm Mary and I talk all things Degrassi. In today's video, I review Under Pressure, where the stress of finals leads to Sean fighting Jimmy and Spinner faking sick in order to get out of his English exam. It's the last week of school before the summer and everyone is freaking out over the final exams, especially Sean, who fears that he might have to repeat grade 7 again. He lashes out at his brother and Emma for trying to instill confidence in him because he's that insecure about his growth as a person. It's not just his lack of good grades that eats at Sean, it's his dark past.
You want to mess with me? I'll mess you up. I'm big trouble.
Yeah, I heard.
You heard what?
Just Tracker said you got into trouble once. He didn't give me the details.
Okay. Back in Wasaga Beach, I got into a fight with this guy. Messed up his hearing pretty bad.
You made him deaf?
Yeah. Yeah, in one ear.
Permanently?
Yeah. I'm not proud of what I did, you know? Sometimes I just get really, really mad and... But I'm working on it, okay?
And it was a year ago, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
When he still lived with his parents in Wasaga Beach a year ago, he deafened a kid in one ear during a fight. He carries guilt over this, but when Jimmy gets on his nerves for the last time, he challenges him to fight after school. Both of their girlfriends protest the idea, but only Emma tries to actively stop it and gets pushed down by Sean for her troubles.
Sean, stop it!
Get out of here, Emma. Emma, just go.
What if Radish finds out?
We're off school property.
Please, before it gets too serious.
What are you gonna cry now, Jimmy, huh?
Sean, leave him alone!
Emma, get out of here!
The next day, he discovers that he passed his exam and is overjoyed, but because of his actions yesterday, Emma unfortunately breaks up with him. In the side plot, resident dumbass Spinner knows he is in serious danger repeating grade 8 himself. Mrs. Kwan returns from her absence and he worries that English more than any other subject will do him in for the year. In his latest ill-conceived plan, he tries getting sick in order to have a legitimate reason to not take his final exam. This idea, as expected, backfires.
Where to start? Yes, Terry.
I know it's none of my business, but is everything all right?
Yes. My husband's finished all his chemo and getting better each day. Now, how have your tests been? And look on the bright side. I mean, there's only one test left. Mine. What's wrong, Oscar?
I'm not feeling very well, Miss Kwan. Can I be excused?
I hope Oscar's not coming down with this flu. These bugs seem to flourish in times of stress. Okay. Let's start our review.
.6, normal body temperature.
What? But I'm burning up.
Well, you're a little warm. Of course, you could have been running around.
Nurse Henderson, I'm appalled you would even suggest such a thing. Maybe that space-age thermometer's, not working right.
Well, there's one tried and true method. Foolproof.
What are you doing? I don't want that gunk in my mouth.
Not going in your mouth.
You know what? I'm feeling a lot better. All of a sudden. Really?
Spinner sucks it up and takes the exam, only to realize that it wasn't as hard as he thought it was going to be. But because of him using the same cup a sick Terry drank from earlier, he catches the flu for real.
I owe it all to you, Miss Kwan.
Sean, even though from a moral perspective, it's one of his worst episodes. Sean's character from his first episode established that he is a troubled child with a dark past, and each episode built upon that in subtle ways, from Parents' Day revealing his impoverished background to Friday night making it obvious that he's bad at expressing his feelings for a girl in a good way. In Under Pressure, we finally get a real in-depth look at his background to explain why he acts the way he does. His older brother has custody of him because their parents are alcoholics and aren't fit to raise him at the moment, which is why he's so emotionally stunted and prone to violent tendencies. Sean's character is realistic and a sad portrait of millions of kids in real life who are growing up in environments like he did. There is a potential for greatness inside of him, but it wrestles with the demon inside of him that tempts him to be his worst. The greatness is personified by Emma, whose innocence and purity is not enough to save Sean at this stage in his life. The darkness is represented by Jimmy, who brings out the worst in him that ultimately comes out on top. Sean, for this reason, is one of the most well-written characters in the earlier seasons. Even though he was acting like a little asshole in this episode, you understand that, and you emphasize for why he's acting like one, or at least I am.
No, I'm not done.
45 minutes, remember?
But I'm not finished.
Time's up. You're locked out. See, Sean, it wasn't so hard.
What are you talking about? I didn't even have time to finish. I failed.
Oh,
I was right, I'm screwed.
Sean, you don't know that.
No, Emma, you don't know. Anything I've ever tried at, I have failed.
Sean, come on.
You know what, Emma? Just don't talk to me, okay? Just leave me alone.
Spinner's plot is less serious, and like his plot in Rumors and Reputations, it's him coming up with these self-destructively stupid plans that bite him in the ass. I like this episode for him better though, because Spinner at least achieves something good for himself. Like Sean, one of Spinner's worst flaws is that he lets his insecurities about his character drive him to do self-destructive things, but at least he learns here that there's potential in him to be great.
Friend would I be if I let a silly little flu virus come between us?
Sorry I'm late, guys. I just finished marking your tests, and overall I was pleased. However, some scores were disappointing.
51%? Yes. Now I just gotta get out of English, and high school, here I come.
Terry, you know you're not allowed to bring beverages into class, right?
Sorry, Mr. Armstrong. I was just about to throw it out.
I'll do that for you.
And Spinner, when you're done, take your seat. Okay, and the rest of the results. Ashley, excellent work, 91%. Paige, a good improvement, 84%.
The scenes where Sean opens up a little about his history to Emma are good, but I also really enjoy the scene where Snake congratulates Sean on a job well done in his final exam. When it comes to dynamics between the teen characters and the parents of the people they're dating, Sean and Snake's relationship is one of my favorites, and even before Sean gets closer to Emma, you can tell he has a soft spot for Sean.
Sean, you are not a failure.
Oh no? I totally screwed up that test.
But how do you know? I haven't even marked it yet.
Don't bother. I failed. It's my life.
What do you mean? That's your life.
It's just the way it is.
Sean. Some good news. I finished marking, and you did well.
What?
It was your best mark yet. Pulled your grade up to a B-.
But I didn't finish.
So? You aced the rest. It was a good job. You should be proud of yourself. But learn from this, okay?
What are you doing? I don't want that gunk in my mouth.
Not going in your mouth.
With Spinner's plot, I would have actually brought up his ADHD again. It's mentioned in this episode briefly about the exam to Mrs. Kwan, but I think it would have been better if the main plot was him learning that he struggles in school because of his ADHD-related symptoms, and by advocating for himself so that testing can be easier, he realizes that he's smarter than he thinks he is.
Gavin, we both know what you tried to pull just now.
Miss Kwan,
And I'm going to keep this between us. Part of a fresh start. In exchange, you'll hear me out. You're not a dumb kid, but the stuff you pull around here is. If you just channel all that energy into your schoolwork, you could be a good student.
But, Miss Kwan, these tests, they freak me out. It must be my ADD.
Have you taken your Ritalin?
Of course.
Then it's not your ADD. Gavin, I'll tell you what to do. You stop avoiding. You breathe, you focus, and you take this test one question at a time.
Under Pressure is a good episode in my opinion, even though the endings for both plots are bittersweet. There is an obvious theme of a person's greatest obstacle to realizing their potential being themselves, and I think that's true. I think its mission in making Sean a more layered character was achieved, even though I do get sad at the scene where Emma dumps him every time. It's not a great moment for Sema shippers, and I understand if a lot more of them hate it for that reason, but to me, I can accept bad episodes for a couple as long as they're well written, and to me, Sema's Trouble in Paradise in this episode was well written. I do call bullshit though when people who don't ship them try to use a scene of Sean pushing her down during his fight as a sign that he was abusive towards her, when that was very obviously an accident. Sean treated her like crap, but he would never go out of his way to purposely put his hands on her, and you can see how horrified he was when she got knocked down. However, this isn't the end of their love story, thankfully. Spinner's plot was entertaining too. Like JT, Spinner provided great comic relief in the earlier seasons. This episode gets a silver rating from me. I don't like the main plot as I did Wannabes, but I prefer both of the plots in this episode over Cabaret's plots easily. Well, Degrassians, that was my review of Under Pressure. Stay tuned for my review of the season finale, Jagged Little Pill.
And then the coward walks away after picking the fight and throwing his own girlfriend to the ground.
Sean did that to Emma?
Uh-huh. Total coward.
Yeah, and you're so brave for getting in a fight.
Ash, come on.
Hey, how was Quan's test?
Oh, brutal. You're lucky you missed it.
I missed it. Had to do it today after school. A makeup one, probably harder.
Aw, really? Poor Tear.
Gee, thanks for the sympathy.
Today's just too beautiful. Got my worst subject out of the way. It's the weekend. My dad scored these amazing
That's exactly how my flu started.
It's nothing. Some dusters.
Poor Spinner.
Maybe we'll see you on Monday when you're not so contagious.
Guys, come on. I'm fine. No.
Sean. Some good news. I finished marking, and you did well.
What?
It was your best mark yet. Pulled your grade up to a B-.
But I didn't finish.
So? You aced the rest. It was a good job. You should be proud of yourself. Learn from this, okay?
Emma. Please stop. Emma, yesterday was wrong. Okay? I just got my mark back from Mr. Simpson. I passed after all. I should have listened to you. And I'm sorry.
Yeah. So am I.